What if the greatest victory of your life wasn't the beginning of your dream, but the start of a countdown to your end? Imagine fighting through unthinkable hardship, overcoming a cruel tormentor, and winning a prize that promises you a perfect future, only to discover that fate had a shocking and final twist waiting for you all along. This is the unbelievable story of Adoni Bello, a young girl whose life was marked by a mysterious spiritual connection and a destiny that no one could have predicted. It's a story that challenges everything we think we know about winning, loss, and what it truly means to live. The world was once a warm and happy place for 10-year-old Adoni. It was filled with her mother's laughter, the scent of akra and pap in the morning, and the sound of Yoruba songs being hummed in their Lagos home. But that warmth began to fade within the sterile, quiet walls of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. Adoni held her mother's frail hand, not understanding the weight of the moment. Her mother, even while sick, smiled at her with a beauty that could light up the world and whispered a promise that would echo through the rest of Adoni's life: no matter what happens, I will always love you, always. Adoni didn't understand the sadness in her mother's eyes. She believed they would go home together. But that night, her mother passed away, and the light in Adoni's world went out. Her father, Mr. Bello, became a ghost in their home, lost in his own grief. For 2 years, the house grew cold and silent. Then, one day, hope walked through the door. Her name was Mrs. Kemi, a beautiful woman with a warm smile and kind eyes who made Adoni's father laugh again. Kemi was perfect. She cooked delicious jollof rice, braided Adoni's hair, and called her the daughter I never had. When she and Adoni's father married, the house was filled with joy once more. Adoni finally felt safe. She had a new mama. But behind Kemi's perfect smile was a terrifying secret, and she was just waiting for the right moment to unleash it. The change started slowly, like a poison seeping into the foundations of their new family. At first, it was just small complaints about a school bag on the floor or plates not washed properly. As Adoni's father began traveling more for his work, the mask Kemi wore began to slip. When his car was gone, the warm smiles vanished and were replaced by a cold, sharp voice that cut through Adoni like glass. The moment Mr. Bello left for a 2-week trip, the mask shattered completely. Kemi's face transformed as she pointed a finger at Adoni. While your father is away, she snarled, you will do exactly what I say. The life of a cherished daughter was over, and the life of a servant began. She was forced to sweep, scrub, and wash laundry by hand until her small hands were sore, often on an empty stomach. Kemi's cruelty was relentless. She would sneer, your mother spoiled you too much, using the memory of Adoni's beloved mother as a weapon. Adoni was trapped, confused, and utterly alone. She cried herself to sleep on a thin mat, wishing for her father to return. But she wasn't as alone as she thought. Something was watching over her from the other side. One morning, while scrubbing the kitchen floor, a familiar scent drifted through the air. It was jasmine, her mother's favorite perfume. Adoni froze, whispering, Mama, into the empty room. Suddenly, she felt a pair of warm arms wrap around her from behind, a comforting embrace from an invisible source. A gentle voice whispered in her ear, be strong, my daughter. I am always with you. From that day forward, the visitations became her secret comfort. Whenever Kemi's cruelty became too much to bear, the scent of jasmine would appear, or she would feel a gentle stroke on her hair as she slept. One night, her mother's form appeared before her, a beautiful figure in white. She told Adoni to be patient, to be brave, and to focus on her education, calling it her key to freedom. This spiritual connection gave Adoni a sliver of hope, but it couldn't protect her from the daily torment. Her only real chance at escape seemed like an impossible dream. The announcement at school felt like a lifeline, the Lagos State Young Scholars Competition. The winner would receive a full scholarship to the most prestigious secondary school in Lagos, plus money for university. When her teacher chose her to represent the school, Adoni's heart soared. Bursting with excitement, she ran home to tell Kemi, hoping she might be proud. But the news was met with a face dark with fury. Competition. Kemi ceded. Who gave you permission? Before Adoni could explain, Kemi's hand struck her across the face with such force that she fell. You ungrateful child, Kemi screamed, you will not enter any competition. That night, as punishment, Kemi locked her in a dark, dusty storeroom without any food. In the darkness, Adoni wept, but then the scent of jasmine filled the room. Her mother's voice was clear and firm, "Don't give up. This competition is your destiny. You must find a way." Those words ignited a fire in Adoni's heart. She decided she would compete in secret. She confided in her teacher, who, horrified, agreed to help her prepare in secret after school. For the next 3 weeks, Adoni lived a dangerous double life, enduring Kemi's abuse while secretly studying for the competition that could set her free. The day of the competition arrived. Adoni, in a simple blue dress her real mother had bought her, felt small among the hundreds of other students. As the test began, she whispered a desperate prayer, "Mama, help me." Instantly, the calming scent of jasmine surrounded her. A voice whispered, "I am with you. Now show them what you can do." With newfound confidence, she flew through the questions. For the presentation, she spoke from her heart about her dream for Nigeria, and the judges were visibly moved. The 2-week wait for the results was agonizing. During that time, with her father away in London, Kemi's cruelty intensified. But Adoni endured, strengthened by her mother's nightly spiritual visits promising that her breakthrough was near. Then, one afternoon, the phone rang. It was the competition organizers. Kemi's face twisted from confusion to pure rage as she understood. "Did you enter some competition behind my back?" she screamed. Just as she raised her hand to strike Adoni, the phone rang again. It was a journalist. Kemi's voice was a strained whisper. "She what?" "She won. First place. Full scholarship." The news spread like wildfire. Adoni hadn't just competed, she had won it all. Her face was in the newspapers and her story on television. When her father called from London, crying with pride, Kemi was trapped. The whole world was watching, and she was forced to put her mask back on. Adoni had finally won her freedom, but her incredible story was far from over. Adoni's victory changed everything. She was enrolled as a boarder at the prestigious Lagos Stepmother College, the best secondary school in Lagos. For the next 5 years, she thrived, becoming a star student, happy and free. Her future seemed limitless. But as she turned 15, a shadow began to fall over her bright future. It started with a constant tiredness and crippling headaches she couldn't shake. She dismissed it as stress, but then she started coughing up blood. The school rushed her to the very same hospital where her mother had spent her final days. The doctors ran tests, and their faces were grim. The doctor's words shattered her world. "Adoni, I'm so sorry. You have the same disease your mother had. It's genetic." After everything she had fought for, she was being handed the same death sentence. "How long do I have?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. The doctor's answer was a final, brutal blow, with treatment, maybe 2 years. That night in the hospital, Adoni cried harder than she ever had before. As she lay there, broken, she smelled jasmine one last time as her mother's spirit appeared. "It's not fair, Mama," she cried. "I was going to become a doctor and help people." Her mother's spirit replied with words that would define the rest of Adoni's life, "And you will, my precious child. Maybe not in the way you planned. Your story will inspire others." With those words, Adoni's despair transformed into purpose. She spent her last 2 years with a fierce determination to make every moment count. She established a foundation to help mistreated children and wrote a book about her life that became required reading in schools. On her last day, at 17 years old, she was surrounded by love. As she closed her eyes for the final time, she felt her mother's arms wrap around her, whispering, "Welcome home, my daughter." Adoni Bello's story didn't end with her death. In many ways, that's where it truly began. Her foundation has gone on to help thousands of children, and her book continues to inspire a new generation. Her legacy became a modern Nigerian folklore. Nurses in Lagos hospitals still share stories of smelling fresh jasmine flowers in the rooms of sick children who are crying out for their mothers. Adoni proved that a life lived with purpose, even a tragically short one, can echo into eternity. Her story forces us to ask a difficult question: was she guided from beyond the grave just to win a competition, or was she destined for something far greater? Perhaps her true victory wasn't the scholarship, but the immortal story of hope she left behind.